We're doing a new video about a build on the SE type Bonneville. We did do a series of videos on a tracker build on the earlier type Bonnevilles, but we get asked a lot about the mag wheel bikes, which are quite difficult to customise because of several factors on the bikes that are much more complicated than the earlier models. Now, because of this, people are reluctant to do many things with them. Now, we've acquired a virtually brand new mag wheel bike here, just a little bit of wear and tear on it. It's only got 2,000 miles on it, but it's been, obviously you can see it's been down the road. Now, it looks worse than what it is. All the bits that are damaged we wouldn't be using anyway. But we want to build this into a street scrambler. We get asked a lot of things that people can do to these bikes without doing major things like welding and cutting and major engineering tasks. So what we do to this bike is mostly going to be bolt on. Some of it we're going to be winging as we go and trying to come up with some design answers. One of the biggest ones being the length of the frame at the back. Normally we chop these off, and I can understand a lot of people are reluctant to get the saw out on the pride and joy of a bike. And also it's not very reversible if you do that with weld and torch. So we're going to be looking at ways we can put a single seat on this and try and disguise the back so it doesn't look as long as it is and get the proportions of the bike right again. We're going to be addressing the things about the ride height, and we're going to be doing lots and lots of bits and pieces on the bike that are quite interesting for you. I'm sure you'll be interested in watch how we do them. But this is the bare bones of the bike, how it came. 2,000 miles on the clock, 2015 bike. And like I say, it looks a lot worse than what it is, but the bike ones I've actually ridden it, you wouldn't believe it, but it is rideable. The worst thing just being the bars are bent. But we're changing the bars, we're changing the clamps, we're changing the clocks, we're changing the headlight. We're going to change the front wheel. There's nothing much we can do customising with a 17-inch wheel on the front. It just doesn't look right to build a street scrambler. So the one thing we are changing, we're putting a 19-inch front wheel on it. Apart from that, not too much. Most of the other things are bolt on. We're going to be changing the pegs. This casing obviously needs replacing, so we'll be putting a new one of those on. We're going to be putting a high level 2-1 exhaust on, changing the side panels, changing the tank. We're going to be doing a chopped down seat. We're going to be lifting the back end of the bike with longer shocks. We're going to be taking a lot of the bits and bobs on the bike that aren't required. Raised mudguard on the front. There's dozens and dozens. Right, bit of a progress update on how we're getting on with the bike, the street scrambler. As you can see, you've taken quite a few of the damaged parts off the bike, and one of the biggest differences, we've got a 19-inch front wheel on now and a bigger chunkier tyre on the back on a spoked rim. We had played around with the idea of powder coating the original mag wheel black, but it just didn't look quite right with a mag wheel on the back and a spoke wheel on the front. So it's something we might play around with later to see how it looks. Now, as you can see, we've changed the tank because the other one was annoying me, the dents in it. So I've put a tank on. I had lying around just to get an idea of what it's going to look like. We've put some fat bars on with clamps. We've also put a little digital speedometer on it. We're just playing around with different paint schemes that we're going to be looking at here. Now, we've taken the seat and back mudguard and everything off, and I'm thinking about putting one of these little sort of universal bobber seats on it. I think it looks quite neat. And fabricating some sort of aluminium mudguard come number plate, probably using one of our tail tidies underneath just to get that short scrambler look on the back. Now, it's still sitting on standard suspension there at the moment. As you can see, it's changed its attitude quite a bit just by putting the bigger front wheel and bigger tyres on. But it's still got the standard shocks on and standard length forks. Now, we'll be going up on the shocks and up on the forks later, but it's still, the stance isn't too bad there at the moment. I was just playing around with exhaust systems, and I tried a couple of these short cans on that we have. It actually sounds lovely with the standard front pipes, but I'm still sort of toying with the idea of putting the high level 2 into 1 on as well, but it is an option for later days to maybe go back to that and see how I feel about it. On the front forks, we've put gaiters on, taking the mud guards off. We have put the Scrambler wheel in. Now, a little note, if you're going to do that, on the SE, the actual forks are further apart. They use different yokes. And also, the bottom sliders are different. The actual mudguard mountings are in a different place. So you would have to fabricate up new mudguard mounts if you want to run a low mudguard. We're running a high mudguard, so that doesn't really come into it. A little tip that we found, the spacers are different on the SE to the Scrambler for the wheels. But if you use the right one on the left side and the left and the right, they actually fit. You just need to trim down the left side spacer to get the wheel centralised. As you can see, it's running off to the right there at the moment. So we'll just work out what that's going to be and trim this spacer down here the right amount, and that should fit on spot on. I think that's about it for now. Just a quick progress report on how things are going on with the SE to convert it into a street scrambler build. As you can see, we've got the spoked wheels on now with the black rims. And I've also fitted one of our desert high level exhaust systems onto the bike, which obviously gives it a much more scrambler look straight away. We've also fitted short side panels to the bike to allow for this, which give the bike quite a different look as well. We've taken the bulky sprocket cover off and fitted one of our lightweight sprocket covers. We've also fitted our drilled lightweight rear brake lever and gear lever kits to the bike, and a Monza gas cap conversion. Further back, we've fitted a alloy rear sprocket and chopped down the chain guard to give it a more aggressive look. We've also lifted the bike at the back by fitting a set of longer alloy gas shocks in all black, which match the bike quite nicely. And fitted, we're obviously not using rear pegs because we're using a single seat on this bike, so we've fitted a set of rear peg delete plugs. That just tidies the back end of the frame up nicely. Now, we're playing with ideas on the back here. As you can see, I've fitted the shortened brown checkered seat, which actually suits the bike quite well and is very on trend at the moment. Now, instead of trying to hide the frame rails at the back, I'm sort of going on the idea of like what old Norton Commandos and quite a few other old British bikes used to do. Used to leave the frame tubes exposed as part of the feature of the bike and use them as a mudguard mount. And I'm also looking at putting this little rack on the back as well. This is just, it's not even welded on yet. We need to work out what's happening here. The seat's all fitted on there. It works quite well on the frame. And I think it's quite a nice feature, the black frame rolls to the back. It's an alternative to getting the grinder out and the welder. There's a lot of people who don't want to do that. I've also just fitted this old silver mudguard here at the back to see what it looks like. And proportion wise it actually looks quite good in my personal opinion, but it is a much easier option to do it this way than starting to chop things up. On this side of the bike again you can see the rear shocks and the ride height's quite different what it was. Still got quite a few jobs to do. As you can see, the side stand needs either lengthening or swapping for a Scrambler one. You can simply bolt on a Scrambler or a Thruxton stand there the right length when you put the longer shocks on, or you can just chop and weld a piece of tube in. As you can see, we've changed the pegs. I've put the rear pegs on the front and actually work out quite well, but I think I'll be putting a pair of our alloy pegs on here. This was just a temporary fix to ride the bike the other day. We've got a set of our drilled pedals on, as I showed you on the other side, and again the short side panel to match the other side, which I think looks quite nice when you you leave the snorkel on and it gives you this air intake effect underneath. But we may take that off and put a trumpet on. Also fitted a nice set of CNC levers to the bike onto the standard Triumph perches, and just a nice little brake reservoir again as well to match the adjustable levers, and also some diamond pattern brown grips to match the seat. Very on trend again at the moment. So jobs to do on the bike. We need to fabricate a front mudguard mount. We haven't quite decided I'm going to put the mudguard high or low on it yet. I think I'll ride the bike and get a good idea what the stance looks like before we do that. If we make a low one, there's nothing available that you can buy to put on there. We're either going to have to extend the SE one up higher, or fabricate one from scratch, or you can buy a high mount mudguard kit for the top. That would be a bolt-on option. Anybody doing the bike, you can buy a kit to put the mudguard up on the top there. We are thinking about putting some black tubes on here just to take this look away, to get an integrated black look through the front end, and probably put alloy ones on and get them anodised or painted black, and may weld some headlight bracket mountings on there. We've got a neat little meshed 6.5 inch headlight to go on there, LED, so we've got plenty of room inside to get all the electrics in there as well, with it being LED, which is quite handy. Other jobs to do, we need to sort out some bar end indicators, because we're going to run those, because again they're very neat. You don't have any separate indicators on the bike. Still a bit undecided whether to run this digital clock or a round analogue one. We'll get that wired up and see what we think. We've always got the option to change that at a later date. We've got both clocks in stock. Still need to change this casing. Again, we'll probably ride the bike first to make sure everything's right, and then we'll get around to doing that at some point. And work out what we're doing here at the back on this rack. Maybe make a cover for it or not, I don't know, see what it looks like. Personally I like this, but I'm going to get the viewpoint of a few other people first before we continue with that. And yeah, there's not that much to do with it now. Like I say, the bike's rideable now, so it's just a few little bits and pieces. Oh, of course, indicators at the back. We may just put some little micro ones at the back, because technically we don't need them with bar end indicators, but I always like to have some extra ones at the back for motorists, so they can definitely see you've got your indicator on.